Hey, my name's Tom Astle, and I am working on a game called Wobbledogs. Wobbledogs is a game where you raise and train these little physically animated dogs that learn and grow depending on their experiences. I've seen a lot of people do these kind of video devlogs recently, and they're generally pretty neat, and I wanted to try one as well. I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of go a little bit more in depth and show off the breeding mechanic. It's something that really benefits from kind of a longer look, so I'm just going to jump right in. So to start off with, you can see that we have all these little dogs just kind of hopping around doing their own thing. If you look closely, each one, or a lot of them anyways, have kind of these slight differences. So this one over here, for example, has kind of a lighter body. And let's see, I saw one back here. This guy right here, if you look, kind of has a longer body than a lot of the other ones. And there's just kind of a lot of little differences like that if you keep looking. So kind of what's going on here is when dogs are generated, they're given the chance to mutate their base genes. So all of the dog's physical properties, like their different colors, the proportions of their legs and bodies, those sorts of things, are controlled by a look gene. This gene is just a series of ones and zeros that maps the values. And when a gene mutates, various bits are flipped, so a 0 turns into a 1 or vice versa. The chance to do this is not exceedingly high, so some of these dogs might not have any mutations at all, but since it is random, some of them could potentially have a lot. Anyways, now that that kind of basic information is out of the way about how their genes are actually set up, I can kind of explain the breeding. So the way the breeding works is when you put dogs into these giant yellow bins, they are determined to be a breed parent. So when you breed two dogs, their genetic information is combined at an arbitrary point. It's random, it's chosen every time, and the resultant genes are given a chance to mutate again. So all of the kind of resultant dogs are going to be slightly different, or hopefully will be slightly different. So you can see here that after breeding those two, a lot of these guys kind of have these lighter bodies. Well, this one still has pink, but most of them have kind of forgone that at this point. So let's see. This guy right here mutated a bit more and got longer legs. So let's try to bring that out. Toss these guys in here. And you can see now this new generation breeds, and again, not all of them are going to have those longer legs, but more of them are going to than did previous. So you can kind of see how it's possible to start selecting for certain traits and kind of move your dog generations in certain directions. In the final game, you're not really going to be literally dragging dogs into giant yellow bins in order to breed them. That's kind of more of a debug thing that I've set up for myself just to test all this stuff. And it works pretty well for that. But hopefully in the final game, dogs will A, breed autonomously, and B, there will be some way for the user to actually influence it, but I don't want that to be dragging dogs into giant yellow bins. So I'll come up with something better eventually. But for the time being, this works pretty well. At the moment, the only thing that is actually modified from breeding are different physical properties, like the ones you're seeing. That being said, in the final game, I do want there to be a lot of kind of less obvious properties that are modified as well. So there could be various behaviors that are carried over, kind of personalities, diseases potentially, a lot of stuff like that. Maybe things that lie dormant for a while and then suddenly manifest. I have big plans for this system, but this is kind of just the beginning of stuff. But the reason for there being more or less obvious properties is that I want people to really have to take kind of a hands-on approach to breeding. If it's something that they're doing manually, I want them to really have to kind of analyze and get to know the dogs that they're putting together. If you don't pay close attention, you could potentially end up with a series of dogs down the line that is like totally inbred and has tons of behavior issues. But if you do pay close attention, you should be able to catch that stuff and not breed those dogs and not continue those genes along. That being said, even with just this current set of physical modifiers, I've been getting some pretty interesting stuff that's just kind of happening as a result of the way the system works. For example, you can get dogs that are so tall that they can't actually get their face close enough to food in order to take bites, which means that they'll starve to death. You can keep these things alive if you want to, but it requires you to manually pick up the food blocks and hold it in front of the dog's faces when they're hungry. And so you kind of have to hand feed them, otherwise they'll just starve. Also, if you get like really long dogs, which is totally possible as well, like this guy here, you can see has very long body. It's much easier for themselves to kind of get stuck in corners and behind objects and such, and then not be able to get back out again because of their odd shapes. So there's a lot of stuff like that, and I'm intentionally leaving those things in the game. I want you to be able to, kind of like in real life, breed for traits that maybe look cool, but are not necessarily good for survivability. And if you really put forth the effort, you can still kind of keep those dogs around because you can physically move them around the pen. They don't have to just walk around on their own. It's just going to be way more work and really not practical in the long run at all. But that's kind of where the system's heading, and hopefully by watching me kind of throw these dogs into these big yellow bins, you've kind of gotten a sense for how it works currently. I hope this has been interesting. If so, I hope to do more of these kind of video devlogs in the future. But yeah, that's about it for now. So thanks for watching.